Okay guys, we are now live. First of all, I'll say a massive welcome to our first Food Revolution Community Hangout. We're really excited to be doing these, especially after the one that Jamie did on Food Revolution Day, which was a great success. So we're going to be doing these hangouts each month. We're going to have a different theme for them, different participants, and where possible, we'll be sparking a global conversation. So today, for our first hangout, we're going to be talking about school food and back to school, which we all know is a really important topic, and it's also a hot topic because for the first time in 15 years, there are now new school regulations which are coming into play this fall and which are going to make a big difference to school food. They're going to go a long way to remedy some of the nutritional shortfalls and also to address the national childhood obesity epidemic. So it's going to mean some big changes for a lot of schools, and we're all going to have to work together to make sure that we can, implement them as easily as possible and as soon as possible. So talking back to school today, we're going to do a quick run through of who all our participants are. First of all, we've got Chef Anne Cooper, Food Revolution hero and renegade lunch lady, who's joining us from Boulder, Colorado. Hi, Anne.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Good to have you with us. Next we've got Brandy Thompson, who is joining us from Florida. Brandy's one of our Food Revolution ambassadors. Hi, Brandy.
Hi, everybody.
We've got Katie Bishop, who's joining us from Washington, D.C. She's from the Center for Science and the Public Interest, and she's a Nutrition Policy Associate there. Hi, Katie.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Katie. So we've got Anne Butler now, another one of our Food Revolution ambassadors, who's joining us from Virginia.
Hello.
We then have Dr. Eric Rim, who's joining us from Harvard School of Public Health.
Hi, nice to be on with you.
And we then have Marshall Reed, who is one of our Food Revolution heroes and also the creator of Portion Size Me.
Hi. All right, who's texting? Usually that's me who's texting.
Yeah, whoever's texting, this is not the time. Anyway, so we're going to kick things off now. If anyone who's watching has got any questions at all, then feel free to write them either in the comment box below this on our Google Plus page, or you can send them to us on Facebook or Twitter and use the hashtag FoodRevHangout. So we'll kick things off. Katie, I know that you guys are doing a lot of work around these new school meal standards and supporting them and helping schools get to terms with what they've got to do and how they can do it. So do you want to maybe tell us a bit about what the main changes are that schools and students are going to see this year and how we can all help implement them?
Sure. As Joe mentioned, these are the first updates to the school lunch program since 1995, and we think they're a huge step forward. So this fall, any school that participates in the National School Lunch Program will now need to provide double the fruits and vegetables that they did in the past, and they'll also have to provide more variety of the fruits or the vegetables that they serve. They'll only be able to serve low-fat and fat-free milk, and if it's a flavored milk like chocolate milk, then it can only be non-fat milk. They'll be serving more whole grains, less saturated fat, less trans fat, and over the next 10 years, they'll be reducing the amount of sodium in the meals. And then also there are going to be age-based calorie ranges to ensure that the children are receiving the appropriate amount of food for their age range. So if fully implemented, these standards will ensure that children receive a healthy and appealing meal while at school. But everybody needs to do their part to ensure that they get fully implemented. These standards are a huge step forward, as I mentioned, but if they're not fully implemented around the country, then they aren't going to be doing their job of improving child nutrition. So as part of our Back to School campaign at CSPI and also with the NANA Coalition, we've been putting together a variety of resources that can help with implementation of these standards across the country. These resources can be used by parents, teachers, school administrators, state and national organizations, everybody, because everybody needs to play a role in implementing these new standards. Among these resources, there are small tasks that you can do that can be taken up at the local level, and there are also larger tasks that could be taken up by statewide organizations. Some of the things we're suggesting are as simple as speaking supportively about the meals and encouraging students to try the new options or buy the school meal instead of bringing lunch from home if that's what they normally do. So some of the resources that we have on our website are tip sheets for parents and school food service directors, school business officers, and teachers to find out what they can do to help with implementation. We have model Facebook posts and tweets, letters to the editor, and model press releases so that you can help spread awareness about these new great school meals that we're going to be having. We also have a document that has a list of state and local policy options that organizations or parent groups could take up to help with implementation in their area. So all of these resources and many more are available on our website at www.schoolfoods.org/back2school. So I hope that you all go and check those out and do your part to help with school food this year.
Brilliant, thanks Katie. So there's going to be some really big changes to school food this year, and everybody who's here joining us today is working in schools to do with school food or supporting the changes and supporting better food education. So, Brandy, I know that you're working a lot in schools, so do you want to tell us maybe a bit more about what you're doing and why you think that these new school meal regulations are so important? Brandy, can you hear us?
I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. You broke up. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I know that you're working in schools and to do with food education. I thought maybe, do you want to tell us a bit about what you're doing and why you think these new school meal regulations are so important?
Yes. I'm a dietitian, and I became a business partner with my son's school, where he's a first grader. And so I've experienced firsthand, I've gotten to go in and talk to all the kindergartners and third graders and fifth graders, and my focus has been nutrition education. So it's a great experience, and also a little as well. So I'm just really trying with the parent association and the students and the administration to really make a difference and really teach them about nutrition.
Brilliant, thank you. Brandy, I know that you had a question as well, which you said to us before, which was what schools are really doing to bring on these changes, what schools are actually doing, rather than just saying what schools can do and hearing what the changes are, what schools are actually doing already. So Chef Anne, as an expert in this area, what are your thoughts? What do you know that schools are already doing to bring about these changes and to go above and beyond the recommendations?
Well, I can tell you what our school is doing, and I will also say that all of the people I talk to nationwide are struggling with a lot of these issues. So it's really great, and the premise, more fruits and vegetables, more colors of vegetables, whole grains, all that's really great. There are some unintended consequences. So for instance, we've had to work with our bread maker to go from an 1.25 ounce slice of bread to reduce the size of the slice of bread to 1 ounce. We've had to reduce the size of our tortillas by 1/2 ounce, from 2.5 ounces to 2 ounces, and have them stretch them so they're still big enough to make burritos with. We've had to make the size of the sandwiches smaller. We've had to reduce the size of all of our protein portions, including roast chicken and things like that. and some of those are specifically intended consequences to get us to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, which is great. But some of the unintended consequences are, for instance, now there's now maximums on protein and grains. So with some of that, we've had to take brown rice off of our menu. What used to be on the menu 2 or 3 times a week, now it can't be because it pushes us over the grains. We used to have whole grain salads on our salad bars, and we're having to eliminate them because it pushes us over the total grains. But on the other hand, we've started to do legume salads. We're doing more beans and things like that. The other thing is, you know, what you hear a lot across the country is kids are not getting enough to eat because this reduction in grains and protein. So for instance, if we're serving something like a meat-based marinara sauce or bolognese sauce, we've had to reduce the amount of protein in it and add vegetables so that the volume looks the same, so kids feel like they're getting as much food. We've seen pizza sizes get smaller, which is not a bad thing, but unless you can really work with the kids and get them to eat salad off the salad bar, and we have salad bars in every school, then you have challenges. So, you know, on a daily basis here in the Boulder Valley School District, where we do about 10,000 meals a day, then we've been sending letters out to parents, we've been doing newsletters. We're working in the schools every single day. We're doing 1 or 2 events per day, getting kids to taste new items, getting them to make better choices off the salad bar. We're working with parent volunteers to get them to help talk to the kids about what some of the changes look like, and really starting to work this, because it is a process. All the recipes had to be redone. I had 4 people working all summer long having to redo the recipes to make them be compliant. On a national level, I have 2 things that we're doing that really helps advocates and school food professionals. One is the lunchbox.org, which is www.thelunchbox.org, which is our website where we have all kinds of materials, from menus and recipes and videos and all how-tos to make these changes. And we also have a bunch of the USDA new tools up on that site. And then one of the things that the USDA has said, and that I really believe is the easiest way to get compliant with these new guidelines, is putting salad bars in your schools. So we are the leading partner in Let's Move Salad Bars to Schools, and that URL is www.saladbars2schools.org. And that's where we actually raise money to give away salad bars. And I think we've given away a few more than 1,400 and raised $3.7 million. So if you're looking for salad bars, you can come there, you can apply. The applications have been closed for the summer. They reopen next week on the 9th. And if you want to help donate to schools to give them a salad bar, you can do it on that side as well. So I really believe that these changes are the best thing that's happened in a really long time. I think it is a marketing challenge in some ways, but I think if we all work together, it's really going to make a difference for our kids' health.
Thanks, Anne. I think, yeah, it's a really good point that you brought up about how we can get the kids to eat the food, in the way that you're sending letters home with parents and you're teaching the kids about the food as well, because at the end of the day, we can bring in these new standards, but they're not going to make a difference unless we get the kids to eat them. So, Anne, in Virginia, I know that food education is a lot of what you do, so maybe do you want to tell us a bit more about what you're doing? And I know that you had some questions on the logistics of how to get these recommendations in for bigger school districts, and also what suppliers are doing.
All right, thank you. Sure. Hi, I'm Ann Butler, and I'm in Richmond, Virginia. And I don't see my picture, so I don't know if you guys can see it or not. But I was a culinary arts teacher at the high school level for 7 years here, and I just realized, oh my gosh, these kids are just eating nonsense for food. And the studies show that you can teach the younger kids at a younger age and it will stick. So it was always our philosophy to just go in and actually teach them how to cook like little chefs. Everybody has their own cutting board, their own little knives, and we start at kindergarten and go through the middle schools. And I believe truly that if the kids see the food, if they get to cut it and understand that vitamin A is from carrots and will help you drive better at night, then they'll really start to eat the
Marshall, I think you might have muted Anne while she was talking there. Can you unmute her?
There we go. Oh, no problem.
Wait.
But I still didn't see my picture. I don't know if my picture has been up yet. But no, that's not me. I'm in the trees. Oh, good. But so anyway, so we're working with the kids themselves. Teachers carve out a little bit of time for us, and we go into the schools, and then we do after-school enrichment as well. Our biggest challenge was with the schools and the lunch programs is dealing with the purveyors. Chef Ann is so lucky that she's, worked directly with these bread people. I'm dealing with school districts that are huge in Chesterfield County and Richmond, and then I also advise to really small counties where they don't have budgets for people to work on meeting the standards, let alone getting with their purveyors to say, hey, we're going to need a new portion size for the rolls or for the tortillas. So that was kind of a tough one for my school systems to deal with right off the bat. And I have been in the restaurants and the schools for a long time. It's a big turnaround for these industries to gear up so fast for this school year, I believe. So that was my huge question.
Yeah.
The other difficulty that we have, is that many of the schools are geared up to just reheat food. The food is actually sent on trucks to the schools during the day, and it's just a matter of what frozen product are we reheating today. There's not a lot of cooking equipment in the kitchens. So we're hoping to, slowly, I know that some of the counties here are slowly introducing new equipment, but that'll be a huge capital expense for them.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, there's a lot of the time not much cooking equipment. I know in my county schools that I actually got a chance to go back in one of the kitchens, and the only thing in there was pretty much either a big microwave or a small oven and a freezer, and that was all that was in my schools. And it was one of those things where you didn't expect that.
And hot boxes.
Yeah.
Hot boxes, which are really coffins. It's just how quickly you kill the food.
That's brilliant. So sometimes we have difficulties with parents or administrators saying, well, Johnny doesn't eat green beans. I'm like, well, that's, just introduce the food. Have the kids snap off the green beans and saute them in a pan. I promise they'll eat them. So, there we go.
That was one of the things that I learned once I started cooking, that, I guess I got a lot more sensations from eating the food than when I didn't cook it. I appreciated it a lot more.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely all comes back down to food education and teaching kids where the food comes from, getting them to cook it themselves definitely makes a big difference in getting kids to eat the right things. And on that topic, actually, we've got a question here from Krista, who is in Florida. And anyone else who's watching at home, feel free to send in your questions. But she is worried about she's concerned about rates of diet-related diseases and chronic diseases, especially in kids that are under the age of 10. And so she wants to know what kind of foods can get kids back on the right track and what should we be giving kids in schools. So Dr. Eric Rimm, I thought maybe with your experiences from the Harvard School of Public Health, you could answer this one and give us some insights.
Sure. Thank you for letting me hang out with you all. This has been very insightful to see experts from each area, because I think it's going to take all of us to work together to be able to come up with solutions. I think the biggest and the most important thing is to know there's not a magic switch, and there's not something that there's not a magic food or a magic set of foods that we can give to kids to put them on the right track. I really think it's a combination of working with great chefs who have interests and CSPI, who's trying to help people motivate schools and give them a path, and to take educators, and I think we need parents. I think we need everybody to be involved. Some of the science that has been done on educating children has found that if you just teach them in the classroom what vitamin A is and what healthy foods are, they get to the end of the year and they can regurgitate what you taught them, but they still don't eat it. So even though you tell them it's good for them, you know, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, they're good for you, unless you really involve them. And as Marshall said, if you get them snapping the beans and cooking them in the pan and getting the sensation in their mouth, the things start to, neurons start to hit, and they actually have a better sense for what a healthy food is. So a lot of us, including myself, having, you know, when I grew up and we had school lunches, you would have beans, but they were kind of beans that were mushy and out of a can, or peas that were out of a can, and we learned not to like vegetables because they were made in a way that no one liked to eat them. So I think some of the keys are to you know, capture the creativity of a chef to say this is the way a pea or a bean should taste. And instead of just throwing broccoli on a plate, is to have it stir-fried with a little olive oil, a little bit of garlic or onions, in places where you can do it, and it can really turn kids on to what broccoli should taste like. But from the education standpoint, I think children need to know where broccoli is grown and what it looks like. And you know, lots of children may think that corn only comes from a can, but to actually show them a corn stalk and to show them what corn is has helped a lot. So I don't think I can tell you there's one magic food that will help children. I think we have to do our best to avoid sugar-sweetened beverages and avoid fruit that's in syrup that has sugar around it. I think we need to do our best to avoid processed carbohydrates and white rice, and try to do our best to combine some of the things that Chef Ann was talking about so that the messages are heard from all angles. And I think they need to be a consistent message, not just in kindergarten, not just in first grade, but every year while the children are growing up, so that they really know that this is as important as mathematics and science.
You know, I totally agree with you, and one of the biggest things I think
Oh, you muted yourself, Marshall.
You muted, Marshall. We can't hear you.
My microphone keeps muting itself for some reason. Sorry about that. But I totally agree with you. We really do need to stay away from sugar-sweetened beverages because, you know, I feel like a lot of kids, when I tell them that I think carrots are sweet, you know, just normal baby carrots, they're like, what? Those aren't sweet. Coca-Cola is sweet, but carrots, no. And I tell them that's Coca-Cola and sugary sodas like that are oversweet. And that, you know, they sort of train your taste buds to expect that oversweet instead of the little tiny hints of sweetness that you get from carrots, onions, a lot of stir fries, stuff like that.
And the same thing happens with salt, because restaurants use so much sodium. It's crazy. People's taste buds are way out of whack thinking that's, you know, how a normal something or other is supposed to taste.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
If we can go back to the sugary beverages for a minute, I know that, Marshall, you've been working with your mum as well in your school district to try and remove or at least limit flavoured milks. And I think it's worth saying, you know, that the new school meal regulations, they don't require that flavoured milks be banned. They just require that any flavoured options are fat-free. But schools can go above and beyond this, and they can remove flavoured milk. And so, you know, if the LAUSD did that last year, and many other schools have done it as well, including Boulder Valley schools. And I know that Chef Ann's got to hop off in a minute, but if you have any quick advice that you could give to Marshall, who's been working towards removing flavoured milk in his school district.
Well, we did it both in Berkeley and here in Boulder. And we just did it. I mean, we just took the chocolate milk away. In my world, it's soda and drag. Yeah. You shouldn't be serving it. And we just took it away. And believe me, nobody died. Milk consumption didn't stop. Nobody died from lack of chocolate milk. And kids just started to drink water. We have free water in all of our cafeterias, unlimited. We serve 1% organic milk. It's unlimited to kids. And I don't even get questions about it anymore. Nobody even asks me where the chocolate milk is. They just know that there's no flavored milks.
And, that's one of the coolest things about my county. It's a small county. It's Lee County, and, they're working hard. I've been to a couple committee meetings, and they're talking about it every single meeting. And in my school, I know there's been a huge drop. We used to have strawberry, vanilla, chocolate. We had blueberry milk. Who wants blueberry milk? It's blue. I'm serious. I mean, I can understand the Blue Man Group wanting it, but, and you'd see kids have it all the time. But now they've actually limited it to just your normal 1%, 2% milk, and then a little bit of chocolate milk every once in a while. It's not there anymore. And it's so cool. It's so nice to go through that lunch line and see, oh, hey, there's only 3 types of milk and only one of them is flavored. It's sort of a boost.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, in some of our research, we found that the best time to remove the flavored milk was at the beginning of the year. Because if you give it to them for 3 months and then take it away, then we got phone calls from parents who are all upset saying, my child's never going to drink milk, their bones are going to fall apart. But if it's not there at the beginning of the year, you'll get 1 or 2 parents who will complain, and the kids will just transition over, and it's for us, it's turned out to be a non-issue in the Boston schools.
Yeah. Sorry, Anne. I know that Chef Anne. I know you've got to jump off in a minute. Are you able to do one last quick question, or do you need to leave?
Nope, I have time.
Okay, cool. So we've got a question for you that has come in that says, what should be one aim for change this year in school? One thing we should aim towards this year.
Well, all of the regulations, other than SALT, have to be implemented this year. But if I would say what is the one thing schools can do to really increase fruit and vegetable consumption, it's put in a salad bar. We should have a salad bar in every single school in our country. And once you have it in, you need to educate the kids. On our websites, we have something called Rainbow Days, where we teach kids to eat the color of the rainbow on their salad bar, and we give them stickers, and we're out in schools all the time. And the manual to make a Rainbow Day and the manual to get a salad bar into your school are on both of our websites, the Lunchbox and saladbarsforschools.org. So if we could get every school in the country to implement a salad bar, it would really help fruit and vegetable consumption, as long as it's paired with education.
You know what? I want one. No, I want 2.
Yeah, the food education is really what it all just comes back down to, isn't it? And we've had another question here, which is asking, how do we get our school systems or our local schools to listen to the idea of implementing hands-on food education at an early age? So, getting to kids while they're young rather than when they get to high school, when it's much harder to change habits. And I know that any of you can probably answer this question, but Anne Butler, I know that you've been doing food education in schools.
Well, the first thing I would say is on the administrative level, continue to build schools that have family and consumer science programs. There's a lot of schools now that just are not building the kitchens. And this is a huge hands-on education program that kids love to do. They is my philosophy, that kids learn by doing. They can only take so much seat time, and oh, by the way, all that seat time is, increasing the children's weight to begin with. So build the kitchens in the schools, and then if you don't have programs like ours, we're a bit unique and growing as fast as we can, but get your PTAs to sponsor health fair nights, and you can bring in your hospital representatives. We have an awesome Move in Mania program here from Bon Secours. Get your local farm markets to help out. The farmers will come in, they will donate food. If people can just take the food away, if you have visiting chefs, professional chefs from the restaurants helping out, a health fair is also an excellent way to go.
And, this, definitely, in my school we had, a class called Careers, and I got to do it for 1 year before our teacher retired, but it was so much fun. I mean, because there was literally nothing in there but a stove, a couple cabinets, and a microwave. And so, they give you a recipe and partner you up, and you'd get to make something.
Oh, wonderful.
Every single time you went. And it was so much fun. You know, we had at least 60 kids submit to get into that class. And
Great.
that's about 60 kids out of 100 kids. And
So
so
the key to that, Marshall, I think, and the most important thing to remember is that a lot of chefs aren't nutritionists, and a lot of nutritionists don't know how to cook. So we have to make sure that the chefs with the great energy and the great inspiration are not having kids essentially making, buttered pancakes or something like that. It's a good start, and it's great to get kids involved, but we have to start early on having them stir-fry vegetables and trying different ways of tasting salad dressings on the salad bar to really inspire them to try healthy things.
But that was one of the things. One of the first recipes I did was kale chips.
Nice.
Yay! Yay! I love kale chips.
This teacher, she made it fun, but at the same time, she kept it healthy.
Great.
You know, we would never sit down in that class. We'd be constantly walking around or, jogging to one side of the kitchen to make sure we get there on time. And, we weren't making buttery pancakes. We were making kale chips, or we made a type of cookie without any sugar at all. No sugar. No
agave.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what we used. And, they tasted the same. Everybody loved them, and they were healthy. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is you can make it healthy and still get the same stuff out of it.
Oh, and the key to all of this is I never use the word healthy. I just say cooking's really fun, and we're just using food.
It's amazingly fun.
Yeah, it's all about real food. That's what we want to be cooking with. Katie, what sort of ideas have you got, or any advice you've got for the kind of initiatives like Marshall was talking about there that schools can bring on this year to try and help students get on board with the new school rule, the new regulations?
Sure. I think that getting kids involved in the marketing of the new school meals, or having taste tests for the students of new products they're going to have. Also getting the teachers involved and getting the teachers to talk supportively about the new meal, getting the teachers to eat with their students sometimes, show that they're trying the new foods, that they really like the new foods. I've talked to different schools who have a school foods ambassador, so they have some kids meet and they talk about what they can do to get kids excited about these new foods that they're having, or having a food of the month, so trying something new and incorporating that into a few different recipes. So those are a few things that I've heard.
Yeah, that's great. And there's also lunchroom champions as well. That's a good one, where you have some of the older students who go into the lunchroom and they explain to younger kids about what the new foods are, why they're good for them. They're always a good way to get, with one student telling another student that this is what they should be eating and why. Marshall, I know that you do a lot of, educating on school food and snack wars, and what do you think about that? Is it been good having students tell other students about the new food rather than a teacher or a principal?
Well, that's the thing, is when you have another student, especially an older student that, a lot of the younger students look up to, it really makes an impact on them. When you have a teacher or a principal, the kids think this is just another lecture, like just in the classroom. Or, this is just going to be another thing that's on the quiz. But when you have a student or somebody who knows what they're going through, or I'm not saying that teachers don't know what they're going through, but, somebody they can relate to personally, then it makes such a bigger impact than just having a teacher or a principal. And that's one of the reasons why I came up with Snack Wars, was to sort of get kids into the kitchen and understand that food is a resource, not something that you should have, not something that you need to rely on for comfort. It's something that you will need, not, for comfort. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's not for comfort, it's a necessity, but it should be real wholesome foods with a necessity and that we should all be eating. So I think that we're gonna start to wrap up now, guys. It's been absolutely amazing. Does anybody have any final things that they want to share or some leaving points that they want to go with?
Really, I just want to say, those people who are out there and standing up, I've only seen a couple, those who have been on the Hangouts. I know there's more of you. You guys who have come and watched this, you know, I guess webcast or Hangout, when you guys do this and, you know, send good emails to, you know, your representatives up in the House of Representatives, I guess, or, you know, you push to get sugary milks out of the counties. That's just one of the many things that we need to do to fix the obese epidemic. And, you know, it really, really does help. And I just want to thank all of you guys for helping make a change and fix America and its problems.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks, Marshall. Does anyone share any last words?
Well, I just wanted to say, like Dr. Rim suggested, start at the beginning of the year, and when the kids get home from school, already have the basket of apples and peaches and bananas just sitting so that's what they see when they walk in the door. Something simple. Or have the whole grain bars that you can buy instead of Pop-Tarts and Doritos. You know, just have the healthy foods hanging out, and they'll just get it that, oh, this is the health, this is what we eat. Oh, this is what we eat.
Yeah, I think that is a really important thing, that it's not just in the school, that it's also has to include the family, has to include the pediatrician, it has to include all aspects of the community. So it's great if they learn it at school and they can go home and teach their parents, but I think it's also really important for the parents to pitch in.
Yeah, and those resources that I mentioned, we do have one that's just for parents about how to get them to you know, try the foods at school by having them at home and doing other things to get the kids to be excited about these new foods they're seeing at school, but doing it at home.
Brilliant. Well, thanks everyone. This has been an absolutely amazing hangout, and I think one thing that's shown is that, you know, from these amazing participants who have all joined us today, is that you can start small. You can start with a student such as Marshall, you can start with a teacher, with a parent, with an educator, and you can go from there. You can make small steps that make a big difference. And, you know, anyone who's willing to start a salad, you know, to fight for a salad bar, to get rid of flavoured milks, to start an after-school cooking club, just start there and run with it. And these guys are showing that you can make a big difference. So, you know, thanks to everybody that has joined us. Thanks to all you guys, and to Brandy and Anne, who had to drop off a little earlier. Thanks to everyone for watching. If people have got any more questions, just feel free to post them. Or if you're watching this on repeat, then, you know, you can join our Food Revolution community on Facebook or here on Google+, and you know, keep the conversation and keep going. One final thing to say is that we've talked a lot about food education, and with our Food Revolution Giving Assistant, you can help support better food education year-round each time you shop online. It's really simple, it's really quick. Just go to jamiesfoodrevolution.com/giving assistant, and on there you'll see our free online fundraiser, and it's just a really simple and easy way to help us support better food education through the Food Revolution. So I think we'll wrap up there, but thank you so much everybody for joining, everyone for watching, and let's stand up for real food together.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye, Marshall. Bye, thank you all.